Mm, mm, mm. Mm, mm, mm.
Welcome back to another episode, guys. Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday. And welcome to the channel, Sibling Rivalry. I'm Lynn. This is Ray.
Peace.
You know, we come on live twice a week, so we can hear from you, our viewers. We can have conversations and talk about the topics that nobody wants to talk about.
Go ahead.
That was
Wait
it.
on you.
That was the intro. Handing over the baton.
She did say you were gonna take over, and I was like, yeah, I forgot that. As soon as we went live. All right. Well, I mean, it's Tuesday. We didn't come on last night because it was the holiday, so Lynn wanted to go do a barbecue, celebrate her roots. You know what, Lynn? I was thinking over the weekend. I was like, man, I'm thinking I should take a DNA test.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking that too, like the ancestry.com or whatever, and it like shows you
Yep.
everything.
Yep. Because I want to see how much black I am. Because
Okay.
when they eventually come around to like reparations, I kind of want my cut. So I wonder how much.
Oh my
Because I'm like, all our uncles are like black, right? So I'm like,
It's true.
man, if it's at least on our mother's side, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's 25%. So I should at least be 25%. You're like 75%. So you're definitely getting a check.
This is amazing news. Look at this. I was not expecting this Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah. So I'm like, man. Listen, I was all against reparations.
I know, like they're in talks and stuff, but are they seriously considering
Well, California looks like they're really coming hard. Like they're gonna start doing it. And I was against it until we started sending billions to Ukraine. And I was like, at this point, I was like, you can give reparations to every African American, every Native American, and Puerto Ricans too, because we were jacked up on the island too. So give us all, cut us all in. I want double dip. I want a double dip. But yeah, no, I was like, so it came out. There was news earlier today. It came out saying that the Pentagon did like a clerical error, and they sent an additional $6 billion to Ukraine due to their clerical error.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Pull it up. Because people will be like, no, you're lying. This is the Biden administration, people. Look at it. If you got Mr. Magoo in charge, you're gonna make a lot of mistakes like this, right? So yeah, an extra $6 billion. And I was like, jeez. So yeah, I'm all for reparations. Let's go.
Ukraine. All right, I'm glad I'm doing this like behind the scenes because I definitely spelled that wrong.
Spell check. Spell check.
Share the screen. Yo, that's unbelievable. Billions. Like B. Mm-hmm. What the hell? Yep.
So somebody who doesn't
weapons. What?
Somebody who doesn't know how to do math was accounting, and they did a little clerical error that cost $6 billion additional funds to Ukraine for a war that 99% of Americans don't give a rat's ass. We don't care about this. I don't care. Like they started this war, they should fight their own battles.
I know everything with like Biden's son with like the laptop and everything. Like, come on, can they make it any more obvious that there's definitely money being laundered? There's definitely some kind of Ponzi scheme going on.
Not even that, but could they make it any more obvious that the criminal justice system right now is like, if you're on one side, they're coming hard on you. Like, look at what they're doing to Trump and everything.
Yeah.
And then like Biden did the same exact thing. They're turning a blind eye. They're slowly walking all of this. He put in a plea deal, and it looks like he's not going to see any jail time.
Who, Trump?
No, Hunter Biden.
Okay. What?
No, Trump is definitely seeing jail time. If they find his ass guilty, they're gonna throw everything at him.
Jesus, not a day in jail.
Nope.
He's probably gonna have that house arrest, have the anklet on.
Not even that. They're probably giving him like a little slap on the wrist and be like, "Don't do anything in the next 6 months." That's all it is. No house arrest, no nothing.
Wow.
Mind you, they all this money, like $5 million, or like it was like multi-million dollars that the Biden family, the Biden syndicate, got from Ukraine and all this stuff, and it's like, you know, now we're sending billions over there, and it's like, yeah, it's definitely money laundering, and I'm like, this is crazy, man. It's like it's so in front of us, and nobody, and you know that there's still people out there who will religiously go and vote for this man again.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And there's definitely still people with their Ukraine flag hanging out front. They haven't found a new flag to replace it with yet, you know?
Well, yeah, because the news hasn't told them what to replace it with.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no. They might have replaced it this month because it is June. So they probably got a nice rainbow flag out there. But then afterwards, they need the news to tell them what they're going to replace it with, you know? Mm-hmm. But no, this is crazy because it's like $6 billion.
Damn.
And so going back to reparations, you know, I was against it because I was like, as a taxpayer, I don't want that money to go. But I'm like, at this point, you could easily give $1 million and not come even close to that $6 billion that they just did a clerical error. It just went over to Ukraine. So, yeah, I want to do my DNA test and get ready for it.
This episode is brought to you by findoutwhat'sinYourBlood.com.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we were going to do a show yesterday, and we realized that it was Juneteenth, and I was like, I didn't want to go in because, you know, I don't believe the whole narrative of BLM and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's many prominent people that came out that said, if you want to stop, you know, racism and all this stuff, just stop talking about it. Or stop labeling us, stop putting labels and titles on us, and just take, you know, the person for, you know, as an individual and their accolades, right? I think it was either Denzel Washington, it might have been Denzel Washington, where he was in an interview and he was like, I don't want to be known as a good, you know, black actor. I just want to be known as a good actor. And that's exactly the point. It's like, you want to be seen as yourself, you know, stop catering into this victim narrative and these titles and these labels. That goes with everything. You know, that goes with everything that we see, you know, with all these isms and movements that are going out here. Mm-hmm. But it's crazy because the second you say something like that, then you know they're gonna shame you. Which this is the only time that I see shaming in society. I think we need shaming back for other things, but this is the only time. If you're not with their narrative, they have like a bunch of titles that they'll throw at you, right?
That's very true. If you're not, you know, right on with the narrative, there's no like middle area, there's no gray area, there's no neutral area. It's either you're with it or you're against it. Right. So you get some kind of ist or some kind of phobic title on you. And it's crazy because they're using the tactics that pretty much held society together, but they fought against saying, don't shame me for this, don't shame me for that, right? Which, once again, you know, Lynn said this like a few episodes ago where it was like, we have the freedom to do anything, but that doesn't mean we should do it. Right. We should have that social standard and almost like that social contract that says, you know what, there's a decency in all of us that we're not going to do certain things, right? For example, if you're in a relationship, you know, you have the freedom to cheat, but we know that that's not decent, right? That's not cool. Don't do that. There's a taboo with that. But in our day and age, right, the taboo is kind of going away. That social contract is kind of going away. Like people don't really, they're like, oh, you cheated. Oh, just move on to the next one, right? So it's the same thing with like divorce. Like before, divorce used to be a really big taboo. But now it's just like, oh, I'm on my third one. I'm on my fourth one. It's like, it's been, you know, what's the word? Like it's been normalized, like
right?
Devalued, yeah, and like
Yeah,
Like a lot of things that were valued to us before as a society, they're becoming devalued, you know? And I
there
mean,
are.
along with that, we're losing our morals, you know? Like just
We
because we
are.
can doesn't mean we
Yeah.
should. And especially being known as like, oh, you know, we're the first world country, first world problems. And you know, when you travel, the other countries feel like Americans have this arrogance about them as being like the best. So why aren't we
Mhm.
holding ourselves to that standard? If we really believe that we're the best, why aren't we kind of setting the example as the leading country and be freaking leaders? You know, like hold ourselves to
Because
higher
we
standard.
don't because we don't have leaders. And then honestly, our leaders are pretty much doing what everybody else is doing.
Hmm.
Our leaders, and it's from the top down, everybody's just self-centered. Everybody's just thinking about themselves. And once again, it's this whole we're in a society where we can do whatever we want to do, and we're out here doing it.
Hmm.
Right? Even our laws to a certain extent are not enforcing it equally across the board. We see that. We see that today. We saw that today with, Hunter Biden getting away with all this stuff and, putting in a guilty, plea deal. He's not going to see any time, right? Because it's under the Biden, his dad's president. Like that should be some sort of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like that should be like somebody, but how do you even step away from that? Like his dad's president right now.
Hmm.
Like his dad's probably going to pardon him too. Like if he does see jail time, he's going to get a pardon, right? So it's like it's a big conflict of interest right now. But that's how the laws are. Another person who just got all the charges dropped, and I see no articles talking about this. Is you remember crypto? You remember a few months ago when when crypto like really crashed and it was because of FTX?
Yes.
And the guy who was running FTX and he was like using people's money and all that.
Hmm.
Well, I think all the charges were dropped on him. So look that up. Let's pull that article. So was it something Bankman or something like?
Federal prosecutors agreed to drop 5 of the 13 criminal charges against FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried.
Okay,
Hmm.
so he still has some charges still lingering.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So then I misread it, but still they're dropping charges on
Yeah,
him,
they are dropping charges.
and they're gonna go lenient on this guy. And why? Because he was funneling money to which party? Right? It came out
Mm.
that he was donating and he was funding the Democratic Party. And now look, he did this like this awful crime, right? Where people are losing money, right? People lost their life savings through FTX,
Hmm.
and here he is, slowly but surely, he's getting off with it because he's connected with the right group, right?
Yeah.
Same thing here on YouTube. You if you're with the message, you're getting not only are you getting a chance to be on the platform, you're getting promoted by the platform, right?
Hmm.
You're one of the top
Algorithm
channels because
picks
you're
you
with the.
up.
Hmm?
The algorithm picks you up and you get
Yep.
pumped in front of so many eyes.
Right.
Hmm.
But when you talk against it, guess what? You get censored. Just recently, I heard that RFK Jr., who he's running against Biden as a Democrat, right?
Hmm.
He just did an interview with Jordan Peterson, and the interview was just recently pulled from YouTube. So once again, you go against their narrative, and the hammer's coming down on you. But I feel I'm still optimistic because with the story we talked about last week and just hearing more and more people are starting to go against the like I feel like a lot more people are starting to rage against the machine,
Hmm.
pun intended with the band name, but like they're going against the system. Like the matrix is cracking and people are seeing that it's cracking and I'm getting inside because I want that. I want people to wake up. I want people to see. I want people to say, hey, how do we take back? And how do we take back? We take back the way what we're doing, stuff like Bud Light, what we're doing to these companies where we're just like, nah, I don't want to do it no more.
Right.
You don't want to hear the lies you're being told by the mainstream media? Turn off the news. Turn off the TV.
Hmm.
Don't watch it. Look, CNN is crumbling. Fox is crumbling. All these channels are starting to fall apart. So I said last week about streamer, the YouTuber who COD pulled his pack because he had that controversial, leave the kids alone, right?
Right.
Well, he did a stream over the weekend, and from that one stream, because people wanted to hear what he had to say, see if he was going to apologize or anything like that, he ended up getting like 10,000 new followers through that stream.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was like 10,000 people that jumped on board and wasn't, rocking with him before, but are rocking with him now because he took a stance.
He took a stance, yeah.
Right. And so those are the things, like I hear things like that, and it's scary because once again, they have the power to cancel you, right? They'll come after your livelihood. They'll come after, your friends, your family. They'll turn everybody against you. We saw this. We saw this during the lockdown.
You're taking a huge risk when you, voice your opinion and it's not in line with the rhetoric.
Right. But what Lynn always says, stand for something, right? He stood by it, and he saw 10,000 people come on board and said, look, I agree with you.
Right.
I wasn't agreeing with you before when you were just streaming and playing video games, but now that you took a stance, and he didn't want to do the stance, right? He doesn't want to get into politics. That's the thing. A lot of people don't want to get into this. They're drawn into this, right? They're drawn into it because it's knocking on their door at this point. And this is why I keep saying that we are in the midst of the culture wars. And I feel like history books will have this down as, the massive culture wars, where, people will go, up in roars against, which way is going to go.
Yeah. Not to mention, we're like on a huge, I was going to say a verge, on the brink of change, but no, we're experiencing the change where we do have platforms like this, and we're giving a voice to, whoever is willing to step up and, put themselves out here. And, before it was like you only had one source of information. You only had the option to watch, either channel 2 or channel 5 kind of thing. Whereas like now, we see so many like just published journalists. I don't know, self-made journalists who are just out here and they're putting their opinions out here, and they're creating the content.
That's what Elon Musk said. That we are in the age of I forgot what he said. There's a fancy name for it, but it's like independent journalism. We're in that age, and we're in the age where people are not getting their news from the narrative because they know that it's opinionated, and two, it's propaganda. So they are coming from sources like, not us, of course, we're still small, but we want to be that source eventually, right? Of free thinkers. And this is where it starts. It starts like this. It's funny because I like the memes, and I think the memes really hit hard because it's just something humor, visual that kind of just like in an instant captures just the insanity that's going on, right?
Yes.
And there was somebody that said like, memes are not going to win a war, but when you look back in the past, like the Revolutionary War, how did they get people on board? They were handing out pamphlets. They were going door to door. They had their pamphlets, right? That was their version of the memes or Twitter, right? Saying, hey, read this, see what's going on, and that's how they started getting people on board. So I feel like that stuff definitely has its impact, right? And I'm telling you, history is going to capture all this stuff. They're going to be like, and it was won by, this and this and this. Like, we're still in the midst of all of it, and we're seeing it as we go. And we hear all these stories, such as, kids up in Boston, right, up in Massachusetts, that was, protesting, and yeah, right, and stuff like, over the weekend,
really?
there was.
Another protest, they were standing up for what they believe in. They were wearing the colors, the red, white, and blue, and they were they were vandalizing a little, they were throwing some stuff, but
right. And I don't agree with that.
It was a movement.
At least they had their voice, they were heard. And once again, I say, if you want to be heard, go against it, stand by your values, but don't be destructive. There's no need for that. Have respect for all that, as cliche as it sounds, turn the other cheek, right? If they're being destructive, let them be destructive, but let you be heard just by your voice. Your voice is powerful. But over the weekend, there was another protest. You can Google it. It's the Dodgers I guess there was so this one I didn't really. Once again, I don't read any of the. I just see headlines. Like headlines comes up, or I'll see like a little clip of a video or something like that. And like there was a riot. Dodger fans was like rioting at the stadium because of what they're trying to feed, and they were like, "Nah, enough is enough. Like we're fans, and we don't want to deal with this stuff."
Mm-hmm.
So let's pull up a video. We could see that. You can pull it up because it was it was over. I believe it was over the weekend, and I think it was like
There's another
transvestite nuns or
YouTube
something.
video.
It was like transvestite nuns or something like that, and they just like they were like rioting. They just started rioting. They were like, "Enough of this crap."
Yeah, they team up to protest baseball. So it's led by religious groups. Violence. Yeah, it just says Dodgers sold their soul. Stop disrespecting sisters.
But there, you got to find the. Let's go to another one because there was like it's the way you're coming at it. It sounds like they like these Christian groups was just pissed off at them, but they really went like they came at them first because they had like I said, I think it was like transvestite nuns or something. Like they was like they were dressed up as nuns, and for how do I phrase this? So I was listening to this YouTube thing over the weekend where I had my awakening, right? And I'm turning more to like spirituality and religion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by chance there was a video over the weekend that said, why are more people starting to turn towards religion? And it's because the guy goes through it and he's like, it's because people are seeing the corruption and almost like society like crumbling, that they're looking for that structure, they're looking for that balance, right? They're looking for something, and religion has that, right? They've had it for thousands and thousands of years, right? And so that's why people are turning to that. And one of the things he mentioned, which I agree, and I just didn't know what I've been saying like this stuff is like a cult, this should be categorized as a religion, but he called it as the death cult. Like he said the death cult, which is anything that kind of goes against religion, kind of has their way of just almost ending civilization. All right. We can look at, people, just the current dating scene, right? The current dating scene where people have no accountability and they're just out there doing whatever they want to do, right? Well, what's falling apart with that current dating scene?
Marriage. Marriages are
marriage. Correct. Mm-hmm. And if marriage is falling apart, what's falling apart afterwards? Right? The child rate's dropping. Mm-hmm. That's why they're a death cult, because they're not helping promote civilization. Life. Right. If you look at the whole, what month we're in, right? We're in the month of June, Pride Month. You look at that whole LGBTQ community, right? They don't really promote familyhood. They don't really promote, having kids. If anything, if you want to have straight pride, right, that biologically makes babies, they look at you and they're like, "Oh, you're being an ist, right? Or you're being phobic, or you're being this." No straight pride, right? There's no S on the whole LGBTQ whatever, right? So, that's what he mentioned. That's what he kind of came across, and so I see this, and I correlated more, and I'm like, we have the death cult, we have these people who are promoting this, and then I see something like this where they're nuns, but they're transvestite. Like, why are they attacking, somebody's religion? Why are they attacking somebody's established religion? And this goes back to, the episode we talked about liquid death and how we see so many satanic, imaging, right? And rituals. Like, if they don't believe there's a God, why do they believe that there's an antichrist, or they believe in the devil, or they believe in all this other stuff, right? So go ahead. You found the video. I was stalling for you to get to the story.
Yes, these are some of the images I'm finding.
Okay.
And that's the
Yeah.
symbol that they're choosing to, use.
And so there was a massive protest, and I believe it ended up in a riot. There's always, and that's the one thing I don't condone. I am totally against the violence. I make your voice heard. You can protest all you want. Don't hold back. But when it gets to the violence, that's the part where I'm like, I tap out. Like, no, and that's on either side. Protest all you want, but don't get violent.
Right.
What else do we?
It's that self-control. It's the like you have the right to freedom of speech. That's given to us, but that you have to know where your limit is. You can shout on the rooftop what your opinion is, but you have to allow you have to allow the room for other people's opinion.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like when violence is introduced, there doesn't leave room for discourse.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big important thing, because if we don't have discourse, we're gonna move forward. We're gonna move towards violence, right? So it's kind of weird. It's like the chicken or egg kind of scenario. But we gotta have discourse, because that's the way we keep peace, when people feel like they're being heard. And so we gotta have that open discussion. And it's not gonna happen overnight. But the fact that we keep having the discussion, we could kind of be over here, and then each time we talk about it, we kind of get to here, and maybe we're not in the center, but like we kind of come more to the middle grounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we do that, is through peaceful, conversation, peaceful discourse. But once we get into the violence, then you're just, they're gonna label you a terrorist, right?
Yeah.
Which that already came out, right? After January 6th, right? Then we got Biden as president, and what he did, he came out in that, that speech, and he said the worst thing in America right now is MAGA, right? Pretty much said the worst thing is Republicans right now. And so whenever, somebody tries to protest, and it goes to those violent, scenarios, that's when, you just muted yourself. Whatever you were trying to say, it becomes invalidated, because you went the violent route.
Yeah.
So what else was the
which is also de-evolution of our society, because resulting looking to violence is how we used to handle conflict.
And actually, this all happened in history. If you look at history, this all happened in the past. Like the Roman Empire, they used to have open discourse, and once they stopped doing that, that's when the civilization fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
And they were around a lot longer than America was. So what did they say? Like, I think they said that like every good like society or system falls apart within like 250 years or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like America's right on the cusp of that. So like we're seeing it. We're seeing tensions are high. We see people are not being heard. That's the reason why they lash out into violence. And we're in this very divisive time, and our leadership's not there. If anything, they're adding gasoline, right? They're pouring gasoline and throwing the match to light the fire. That's really what they're doing. So what's it going to take, to try to heal that divide? It's going to take us, having that conversation. But in the same sense, it also takes, us that are sick and tired of certain things to come out and say, look, we're tired of this. We're tired of this narrative, right? We're seeing it, with the kids in that school. We're seeing it, over the weekend with the, Dodgers fans. We're seeing it, with the protest of Bud Light and Target, which are losing lots and lots of money. And like Bud Light is like trying to figure out, they're like, how do we get these people back?
Right.
And I think they're done. I think they're not going to get those people back, because, they're, once you betrayed your customer and they found a alternative solution, good luck trying to bring them back.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it is, and this is the thing that all these companies have to realize, is that once you go into politics, neither side's going to defend you. There's nothing you can do to say or do. They're getting boycotted from the conservatives who didn't want that, as well as the liberals who are like, you're not defending us hard enough. So they're getting boycotted on both sides. So why get into politics? It doesn't pay. So I don't know. To me, it seems like there's another agenda out here than making money, because that's what it's supposed to be, right? Do whatever you can do to make that money, right?
I don't know. I think that this was just an error on their part. They chose to very publicly embrace something that their clientele wasn't ready for. They didn't judge their clientele. They were trying to just kind of like jump on the bandwagon.
I don't think so. I think they were really good. They were going to go in on this, and the way they were going to do it was they were going to introduce it through soft promotions.
Right.
So like,
right. The
so we
micro
have
brands.
right. So we have in your face promotions, which is the commercials you see, the ads you see, while driving, tie-ins with different products and stuff like that. But there's the soft promotion too, which is like, the stuff you see on social media, the subtlety. Like I would say like another soft promotion is like the like when you're watching a movie and they have the end product, while you're watching the movie, right? Like Corona is notorious in the Fast and the Furious movies, right? You see
Right.
Coronas all the time, and that's that soft advertisement, right? Where the product placement, where they put that in the movie, and they buy that spot to be used in the movie. The same thing with the cars, right? Dodge is notorious for saying, "Hey, use our cars in the next Fast and the Furious movie," right? Because that promotes us, right? And then they'll do the tie-ins, and then they'll do the tie-ins is the hard plug, the hard promotion where they'll have their commercials running, for Dodge, during the movie or after the movie, and they'll have their website and do all those promotions, and then they'll be on TV and stuff like that. Will tie in with the movie, but they knew what they were doing. They had this soft promotion all set and ready to go. And the second people started pushing back on it, that's where they were like, "Oh, no, no, no," and they tried blaming people and throwing them under the bus. They fired 2 people, right? And they were like, but yet they still didn't issue an apology. And I think that's what a lot of people are waiting for today. Like, hey, they still didn't issue an apology. Like, hey, sorry for promoting this, but they won't do that. Why? Because they're worried about the backlash that's going to happen on the other side. Which, once again, I've heard maybe one or two, gay bars saying, "Oh, you're not standing by us. We dropped your beer and all that." But that's not as bad as like stadiums not selling it at sporting events and concerts dropping it. And I don't know, man. Like I think they feel their doom, but that's just me, man. That's just me. All right, I'm ready.
They did embrace the culture. They were trying to get capture that audience rather than really considering what their current audience was already. They didn't consider like retention. They were worried about like, let's grow, let's look for, our next big growth.
They were giving them too much credit though. I think all companies, there's something now where it's the ESG score. And I keep hearing that over and over again. And it first started with like movies, right? Because I was always like, why are these movies going so low, right? And now there's like a rule. There's a rule that writers have to follow, where like a woman can't be talked down by a man in the movie, right? And it's like so many different. I forgot what the rule was. I know somebody said it, in one of our episodes, but that's like the same rule that these companies are now having to follow to get funding or get money. It's not just about who's buying their stocks, right?
Right.
Or it's the majority, the bigger stockholder, right? Because remember, the big stockholders is not me and you, buying stocks, right? Me and you, we get a point, 0.0000 of a stock, right? Or the company. It's the person who owns, 15% or 30% of the company. Where they get to influence.
I'm trying to be, FYI.
Right. Where they get to influence the board and the decisions that company makes.
Right.
So that's where these like ESG scores are coming out. I forgot what is it? Environmental, social. Look it up, Lee.
Environmental, social governance.
Yeah. So these ESG scores is pretty much their woke credit score. And how woke a company is how much, that investor will invest in. So maybe they see something like, hey, we're investing 10% in your company, but if you get that ESG score up, we might invest 20% into the company.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they're trying to get. And so that's why we see more companies do this stuff. It's not by accident. It's not because they care. It's because, by design, this is happening.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
And and like it falls right into all the conspiracies, like there are so many conspiracies that I feel like nowadays you look at and it's like, dude, like if
all
you don't
coming
believe
true
anymore.
Yeah, they're all coming true.
Yes, like what the heck? So it's just
The fact that people
into that there's like this whole grand plan.
Right. So yeah, one of the biggest conspiracies, like there's a secret cabal that runs everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, technically there is if they're buying up, 20% of each company, and now they make each company do what they want to do because they own 20% of that company, right?
Right. Tracy, I started watching this show called Succession.
Yes,
you
that's
realize
a
how
one.
small people who aren't billionaires are to real billionaires.
That's a good show. I love that show. The season, or not, the series finale just came out, and even till the very end, it was really cutthroat. But it's a really good insight between Succession and the show Billions. Between those two shows, if you want to see how cutthroat people are when it comes to money and making money and just that whole life, as far as like, once you get your first mill and then you become 10 mil, 100 mil, $1 billion and all that, like, man, they are just cutthroat. Like I was watching that show and I was telling my kids, I was like, bro, if you ever try to like do the shit that I see on this show, I was like, I gave you life, I'll take life. In Minecraft, though. In Minecraft. I gotta say that.
So I haven't seen either of them. I did see like the previews for Succession, and I was like, oh, like I was intrigued. I wanted to watch it, but I never did.
Yo, Succession, I gotta give a shout out to Macaulay Culkin's little brother who's in that show.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's like, there's so many scenes where he just steals it. And I feel like he's just like winging it. Like I feel like he just like improvising some scenes.
Mm-hmm.
But man, if that guy hasn't gotten all the awards, he needs to get the awards, man. He's like really good at that show.
Mm-hmm.
Just the shit that he says sometimes. I'm like, man, that's not in the script. That's just him. That gotta be him. But yeah, no, that's a good show. And if you want to see how things are run and how once again there's rules for us but not for them, those shows will definitely let you see it, man. Like
Drunk tried putting it off, but it's definitely binge worthy.
Yes, it is. I think it's only like 4 seasons or something. Like they just ended it recently, so it's not that many, seasons to like binge watch. And I think it's like each season is like 10 episodes, so it's not that much.
Okay.
So yeah, you'll definitely can get lost in it real quick. I saw I think you watch Black Mirror, right?
Yeah.
So the new season just came out. I believe it came out like Friday or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I started watching that, and man, that shit, like everything, like I thought they I've seen some of their past episodes that was like, damn, that shit's trippy, right? Because you could see technology going down that road, but like I'm impressed. Like whoever the creator behind this, the writers, I gotta give them kudos because they just keep nailing technology to a point where it's just scary. It is scary. So the first episode, and I'm gonna go into a little spoiler. I'm not gonna go too much. I'm not gonna tell you how it ends or anything. But the concept was really so we've been talking about AI, right? And so the first episode is called Jane is Awful. Okay?
Oh, I saw this one. Okay, I saw that episode.
And their version of Netflix in the Black Mirror's universe is called Streamberry.
Mm-hmm.
So Netflix, right? because you sign, we all do it, right? Whenever we go, we just sign away our lives.
Yeah, just
right?
click user agreement, agree, privacy notices, agree, like all of them.
Which, honestly, if I do believe myself in the sense like, the devil's alive and he's running technology and he's doing all this stuff, then we just all signed ourselves to the devil because we don't read any of that. We just click yes and like get out of my way so I can go and watch the show. Yeah, right. It's fire. Yeah, no, I saw all the episode. Yeah, yo, that show, the way, yo, the mind games it played with me.
Yes, yes.
So Jane is awful. Shows like so Jane is a character in the show, right? And she signed the the agreement saying yes, Streamberry, let me get on your platform, right?
Mm-hmm.
So within there, it said that you're giving away your likeness to Netflix, pretty much, right? So like we click yes so we could watch a Netflix show, but now we're giving away our likeness to Netflix to now create a show with us and not have to owe us anything, right? We can't sue them, we can't say anything because it's in the agreement. And they license the likeness of famous people as well. So you know how we're always saying that our phones are listening, and like we could be talking about cat food, and the next thing we see advertisements like cat food, and we'll see stuff, ads popping up about cat food and shit like that. So it's that same mechanism that was like spying on Jane and knows what's going on in her life, and then they used AI to take the likeness of a famous person, and within that day, so she's living her life, right? She's doing things, and then she came home and she sees, the title card on Streamberry, their version of Netflix, saying Jane is awful, and it looks just like her, but it's like a famous person, with the same hair and everything. And she clicks on it, and everything that happened that day, she's seeing it as a show because it's an AI created TV show.
Yeah, like
the AI is
talking, private conversations, private interactions, like everything.
That shit.
But you always have your cell phone on you, so your phone is always listening, and they were able to tap into that information and create this show. And I mean, it is trippy. It's definitely one of those trippier Black Mirror episodes.
But the thing that really got me, and this is the thing that I stress like consistently with the show, with our show, is so excuse me, the CEO of Streamberry, Netflix, was being interviewed, and they were, asking, what blah, blah, why Jane, and they were like, she's just the, the beta version. There's other shows for everybody. They're gonna do this to everybody, and they even show the reporter, and so then the reporter asked, okay, after a couple of questions, the reporter was like, so why awful? Why that negative connotation, right? And she said, because we tried doing it, as Steve was awesome, but we, and I say we as people, we don't want to we don't gravitate towards positivity. We wouldn't be captivated in a positive show about us.
Right.
We're captivated with the negativity. And I was like, damn, that's so true. That's so true because most people, we are, most people are self-centered. And they would be drawn into a show that showed us the negative side of our lives, right?
Yeah.
Because we're drawn into that drama.
Which is, it comes full circle. That's the whole reason why, news became what it's become, because that sensationalization is what we crave. We want to know
the negativity,
what's killing me in my kitchen. We want to know,
Right. They didn't get us with love. They got us with fear. Good stories. Nobody ever listens to the good stories. There's so many good stories, but they don't there's no eyes on them, right? For example, Mr. Beast. When Mr. Beast was doing all this like good stuff, he made his money and he's doing helping people. Nobody was talking about Mr. Beast until the negative stuff started coming out, right? And that's when more people started hearing about it and started like, oh, negativity, everything. Like we're drawn to the drama. And this is why I keep saying, like, over and over, like, love yourself, because if a show ever came up like that, you shouldn't even be clicking on it because, man, I love myself. I don't need to watch that. I know I'm not awful. I'm good. and push, force Streamberry to be like, yo, Steve is awesome.
So it does raise a good question of would you destroy the system or the matrix if you knew you weren't the original one? You were not level one.
Yeah, but she even said that. Like, she destroyed it because she was like, I'm gonna do it because the original me already decided this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, you know, no matter which version you are. So really, what that showed is like, if you're the first one, you have freedom of choice. But once you're the other ones, you're just a copy.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes to that question of, you know, do we have a predestiny in the universe, or do we have freedom of choice?
Mm.
Right? And if we do have freedom of choice, then that leads down the rabbit hole of the multiverse, right? Whereas if you choose, you know, left, that's in this universe, but then there's another universe because you went right? And so every decision you make, that causes a split in the multiverse, right? So, you know, that goes back to the big concept. Like, do we have a predefined or predestined, you know, like, you know, destiny? Like, we don't have a choice, and everything is laid out in front of us, or do we have choice? Yeah, no, that Black Mirror is
tough
dope.
questions.
I do like Black Mirrors, man. Those shows are trippy, man.
Yeah. Damn, I dropped my cap.
Yeah, and then there was like, what was it? Yeah, man, I saw all the, like, this whole season. I saw I've been binge watched it like yesterday, and
No, what's nice about Black Mirror is that it's each individual episode is its own thing.
but
So,
they do tie into each other. They do they do tie in like little Easter egg kind of ways.
Mm-hmm.
So like they'll reference stuff. Like, there was a show that referenced something in another show that like I didn't know. I had to watch, like, I watched something on YouTube, and they were like, "Oh yeah, this was," and they referenced this from this show and this show, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
So I usually just watch like one episode here and there.
Yeah.
So Drunk said, I believe in predestination. Like, you can make a right or a left, but you gotta end up at the same IHOP. Okay.
Well, there's always like, you were at the right place at the right time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if it's something wrong happens, they'd be like, "Oh, you were at the wrong place at the wrong time," right? So it's all, I don't know, just the way you look at it. It's your perspective, right?
Rain, do you notice how they make you guess what's the Black Mirror aspect every episode almost until the end?
Kind of, because the one episode, which one? The one that really was like trippy for me was the one where they were in space. I don't know if you saw that one, Lynn, where it was like, it's called Beyond the Sea, and they're in space, but they have like these avatars that they can use to kind of like send their mind down to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, no, that one was kind of trippy for me because that one was like, just some of the characters' decisions that they were doing, like, to me, just didn't add up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, that one. Some of them are long, man. Some of these episodes are long. They're like 2 hours long. They're like a movie. I was like, yo, like, this episode's kind of long. So that one was a longer one, and it's like there were some things in it that just wasn't adding up for me towards the end. But I think the concept was pretty much in the beginning of it. But then some of them are like, they try to be mysterious as far as like, oh, you're trying to like solve a mystery kind of deal.
So Beyond the Sea was good, but it was so predictable. I knew how it was going to end.
Right. And like, to me, some of the motives and like just the direction just didn't make sense to me. Like, the way it ended and what he did is like, you're gonna get caught, right?
Mm-hmm.
To me, it didn't make sense. And but once again, like me, the way I see life, you know, if I go through a tragedy, you know, I'm gonna see the good out of everything. Like, I'm always gonna try to be optimistic, even in my darkest times. I will always try to find the good, because that light at the end of the tunnel is what's gonna lead you out of darkness, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of my sayings and one of my things that um, my friends are like, yo, you say it, it kind of stuck with me. It's like I always say, like my life is good, right? My life is good. I know life could be a lot more better,
Mm-hmm.
but I also know that life could be a lot more worse, right? And so when I say that, when I think about those perspectives, that's where I'm like, um, life's good, life's good. And then I say, okay, how can it be better? And then I try to do those things, day by day to try to make life better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas somebody who's on the other side, you see those pessimistic people, the negative people are always like, oh,
That's
chicken
how.
little, right? The sky's always falling. And then
Mm-hmm.
they're never happy, right? They're always causing themselves stress. They're always causing themselves depression, anxiety, right? And they're like, why does this happen to me? And it's like, wait, but you're still
It's
alive.
their focus. It's
Yeah,
what they're
right,
giving credit to, what they're speaking life into.
right,
People,
exactly.
you choose every day like which thoughts to really focus on. And you can choose to change up your mindset. You can decide like, all right, I'm being mad negative today, let me
Hmm.
relax a little, let me focus on the good. And
Right,
it's always what you focus on that's going to grow. When you focus on
right.
the good grows. And some people just, they don't see the good, so they can't water it and help it grow.
Right, right. And case in point, my I'm trying to sell one of my houses, right? And so I met with the realtor yesterday, so we could go take photos, right?
Hmm.
And to me, I was just being negative. I was like, oh, this is not gonna sell. Look at this, and all the stuff, right? And the realtor was like, you never know. What's that saying? One man's trash is another man's
The man's
treasure, right?
treasure. Yeah.
And so, what I think is a hoopty, somebody could come in and be like, man, there's potential here,
Yeah.
right? And be like, I'm gonna buy this one. Or maybe somebody wants to come up and buy up the strip, right? Because
Hmm.
you hear it all the time. You hear, an investor coming in, buying a strip, pushing people out, reinvesting,
Making the
and
whole,
now
yep.
flipping it, yeah, flipping the whole neighborhood for like 5 times as much as they paid for it, right?
Hmm.
You hear it all the time, and it's once again, it's perspective. It's the way we see things. Like we could see it because, and it could just be something simple as just taking a step back. Like we could be seeing something all the time, and we're gonna see all the cracks and crevices, right?
Hmm.
But if you take a step back, or maybe even like go away from it for a couple of days and come back, you're now seeing it in a different perspective, right? You're not seeing all the cracks and all the crevices. You're seeing like overall and stuff.
Hmm. Economy is built on one man's trash being another man's treasure.
Yes, sir.
Can you
And
sell?
like,
Where's the demand? Who wants what?
right, supply and demand. Correct.
Mhm.
Correct. And not only is not only um it comes in cycles. So like
Mhm.
think about the things like that was popping back in the day, like the 80s and 90s, right? All that stuff is coming back now. All that stuff is
Yep.
cool. If you would have seen that in your closet, if you would have seen that shit in your attic, you'd be crazy rich right now.
Hmm.
But that shit is all like it all comes in cycle, you know? That's why fashion never makes sense to me because something that looks corny today is like in mode like tomorrow. It's the
Right.
weirdest thing. That's why some fashion stuff to me, I feel like they're just messing with us. Especially
Hmm.
like Kanye. Kanye will put some weird ass shit on, and I'm like, he's definitely messing with us. And people are like, oh my god, applaud. He's such a visionary. And I'm like, dog, he's just making fun of us. He got to be making fun of us. Like, why is he wearing that? Like, he's definitely making fun of us. And they're like, yes, yes, and they're selling it in the Gap, and people are wearing it, and I'm just like, oh, bro, really, really? You're wearing the garbage bag? You're wearing the garbage
Which is
bag.
crazy because not only that, but like the amount of money people are willing to pay for certain things.
Five
Like
hundred dollars for
a
the
few months
garbage bag
ago,
because
yeah, a
Kanye
few
did
months
it.
ago with the big old like Mickey Mouse boots.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yo,
yeah,
people
yeah.
pay so
The
much money
Mario
for
Brother
those.
boots.
Yep.
I
Shoes
want to
are
get
just
those for
a
my son.
crazy, crazy one of those like fashion things. Because if you think about it, like right now Crocs got has like it's like a bubble looking thing. Like they just make their shoes uglier and uglier, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, they're so cool! I have to
But
have them."
Crocs got tie-ins with everybody. I just got a on the Taco Bell app. It said that they have like the Taco Bell Crocs.
Oh my gosh, I picked up some Margaritaville.
Yeah. They had Margarita. They had like a bunch of country singers, Margarita, Luke Combs, like a bunch of them tie-ins. They had the limited edition Bad Bunny ones. Like they definitely know how to market their product. Mind you, this product was dead like a couple of years ago.
Right.
Nobody wanted those damn ugly clogs. But all of a sudden, you get Bad Bunny on there, and everybody's rocking Crocs now. I'm telling you, man, fashion is freaking weird, man. Yo, Kanye made a plastic bag in style. After that, I'm done. I'm like, yo, fashion don't mean shit. It's just if you're somebody, you can wear whatever the hell you want, and people are gonna rock it. That's it. The most craziest thing. That's why you should strive. If you're gonna wear a name on your, if you're gonna wear a name on your clothes, it should be your name. Like strive for that. Like strive to either it's your name because it's your branding and you're advertising your business, right? And now you gotta wear clothes, right? So you might as well advertise your business, and that's a tax write-off, right? Or strive for even one better, like just like crush the whole, fashion industry and rock your name on it, right?
Yeah,
that should be the dream, man. If you're gonna wear the clothes, wear your name on your clothes. Why are you wearing Tommy or Sean or who all the dudes' names?
I tell that to my kids all the time. I'm like, dude, if you're gonna wear something that big, they should be paying you to wear it.
Exactly. You're advertising.
Yep. I like, and like I do like nice things. I do tend to wear, nicer clothing, but one of the things I avoid is the big old logos. It's more so like if you know what I have on, like if you don't know, you don't know. I just look nice.
That's like when I go buy my car at the dealership. The one thing I do is like I'm taking off their stickers, I'm taking off their plates, I'm taking all that stuff off. And they get mad at me because I'm like, no, I'm not driving off this lot with that on there.
Take that off.
And they're like, wait, why?
Plates.
Yeah,
like, oh,
and they're
we
like,
do that
why?
on every car. That's nice. Take it off.
I was like, I don't care. Either you taking $500 off the price of my car, or you're taking that off right now, because I'm not advertising for you. Simple as that. That's like I've done that, all the time. I'm like, take that shit off. And so when they go back to clean it, sure enough, they're scraping that shit off. I'm like, it's a brand new car. I'm not having your sticker on there. Doofy doof motives. I don't want no doofy doof motives on my car. Oh shit, Drunk got more comments. You're not going on them. Drunk said my favorite one was Maisie Day. Did you watch that one, then?
I don't know them by name. I mean, I knew Jane is awful because that was hilarious, but I don't know this one. Which one is this one?
Did you watch all of them for the new season? So that was one of the episodes. No. Okay, so that was one of the episodes in the new season.
Okay.
That one to me, I don't know. It kind of like once again, that one was kind of like Beyond the Sea for me. Like it was like some of the actions.
All right, go ahead.
It was some of the actions that some of the characters were doing just took me out of the episode. Like I was just like, they wouldn't be doing this. They just wouldn't. If this stuff was happening for real, they wouldn't be doing this. Like,
the internet agrees. It's like, oh, why the Maisie Day twist doesn't work? And it says, Maisie Day's twist was a spectacular misstep for the series. Worst ever. Like, holy crap!
Exactly. So did the one Beyond the Sea. And I feel like for a piece of artwork, right? It if you're trying to be bombastic for like artwork, like you're just an episode, you're just trying to be bombastic. Okay, that happened, you did it, but it still takes me out as an individual. Like that's not.
It wasn't realistic.
That's not people's motives. People are not going to do that. I don't see that. So I see why the internet is a buzz right now. It's just. I don't know. To me, my favorite episode was the first one and the last one. The first one, Jane is awful. That was to me because it was just scary. Like it was scary, realistic. Like, oh my god, this is coming like next year.
Definitely.
And then I started thinking like, oh man, they must do the shit I do. I don't want that to be on a TV show. Ray is awful. I'm like, yes, I am. But And then the last one was it Devil 79 or something like that? That one was kind of, I like that one. I don't know. I like that one. But other than that, the other one, they were watchable. But like I said, I questioned some of the motives in those two episodes. And then the one episode, what was it? The Loch Ness episode? That one was kind of weird. Mm-hmm. That was just like a whodunit. And I was just like, oh, okay. Like,
it's so funny. Really... Like now when I watch these episodes, I'm gonna be like thinking about your reviews.
Yeah, good. So now it gives you a reason to watch it because you hear my review. Yeah. Like I don't know. I was either that one episode where they were like doing the documentary that kind of left me like flat. Like I watched it and I was like, I had no reaction to it. I was like, okay. And that was it. On to the next one. And then then the next one I watched, and I kind of watched them out of order because I knew like, I don't have to watch them in any sequence. So I was just going by like the titles.
Okay.
Like the ones that kind of like the title that kind of like caught my eye. I was like, oh, okay. So I started with Jane is awful. I was like, why is she awful? so I just proved Netflix's point or Streamberry's point. Like, we got to have a negative title so that way people are captivated. They want to see the drama. I just realized that. I just was like, no, I don't want it. I want to be more, positive. And I wouldn't want to be drawn, but I was drawn to why she was awful. That's funny that the Maisie Day one, the internet's like, nah, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
So now you're going to go watch that one?
Well, I was curious. I was like, all right, let me at least read the synopsis. And that's what I pulled up on the internet. I was like, oh, wait a minute.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. But I just realized it too. I just realized that like Black Mirror is a hard show to get new people to watch. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is that first episode is super polarizing. Where it's like the politician who's about to, point a freaking pig, right? Mm-hmm. Like that, like I had a friend. So, in my group, my friends chat, we're talking about it. And, one of my friends was like, hey, has anybody seen, Black Mirror? The new season's out? And I was like, oh, shit, yeah. I'm going to watch it. That's a really good show. So I had another friend who was like, yeah, I've never seen it. Let me go ahead and watch one. And then he's like, what the hell is this episode? Like, what is this? Is this guy really going to, have sex with a pig? So it's like, I feel like I should take a list. And whenever I try to put somebody on to like Black Mirrors, I should be like, hey, start with this episode, whichever is like the best episode. Right. or maybe the second to best episode. Or maybe even the third one, so it kind of sucks them in. And then you got like two more episodes, be like, oh, if you thought that one was good, try this one, right? Mm-hmm. But like don't start with that first episode. That first episode was rough. Like, oh my goodness. But anywho's, you have anything else, Lynn?
No, do you have anything else to close up with?
No, I'm good.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Couch Show. We're here Mondays and Thursdays, 7:00. Or like today on the Tuesday,
Holidays, man. We've been having these holidays. That's what we've been pushing it back. Then was like, I got a barbecue tomorrow. Today. She was like, I got a barbecue today. I'm going to go eat. I was like, go eat.
Impromptu barbecue. I was like,
enjoy yourself. It's the holidays. It's the holidays, man.
All right, guys. We love you. We'll see you on Thursday.
Peace.